Hi everyone, welcome to StudioJake. I, of course, am your host, Jacob Airy. Be sure to like this video, subscribe, ring that little bell so you actually get notifications in your subscription because YouTube wants to lose money and change their subscription algorithm. Anyway, neither here nor there. Today I'm going to be doing a ton of comic books, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So buckle up, sit back, relax, and welcome to StudioJake. Okay, I am wearing a Spider-Man shirt. That means, right off the bat, we've got a Spider-Man comic book. That's right, we are continuing on with the new series, Peter Parker, The Spectacular Spider-Man, issue 305. We're in No More Part 2. Now, I'm going to give you a quick backstory in case you've forgotten. So, Peter Parker, and this lady right here, her name is Teresa. Teresa at one time was used in a plot to confuse Spider-Man to make them think that Teresa was his sister, the child that the Parkers had forgotten about and had given up for adoption because their lives were too dangerous. Well, so when all this is happening, she comes back into Peter Parker's life to ask for her help. She's being hunted by this rogue S.H.I.E.L.D. department. They're like an offshoot of S.H.I.E.L.D., but they all get stopped with Spidey's friends, Ironheart, Black Panther's involved, a whole bunch of the Avengers. So then they're invaded by an alien life forms who are robotic, and they don't really know what to do, but somehow the Tinkerer is involved, and you find out that the Tinkerer, way back in the past, had rescued one of their robots, and that's why they kind of see him as their liaison to humanity, which they're trying to conquer. So they borrow a time machine from Doctor Doom, and Spidey, Teresa, and J. Jonah Jameson. Yes, J. Jonah Jameson has learned of Peter Parker's identity as Spider-Man in this new storyline. He did in the Civil War, but then Brand New Day erased that. Well, they're bringing it back for this series. And while they were there, Doom, before they went back, Doom had told them that his time machine won't alter time. And so they just have to get the information they need and then come back to the future. So they do this, and Spidey actually helps his younger self. He trains him. He helps him catch a whole bunch of supervillains, including the Green Goblin. And but then the younger Parker overhears Spidey tell Teresa that he wishes that he could warn the younger Peter about all the terrible things that are going to happen. So the younger Peter decides not to be Spider-Man anymore. So Spidey and Teresa and J. Jonah Jameson, they try to go back in the future, but the time machine malfunctions, and they're still stuck in this new storyline where Peter Parker has not become Spider-Man. Norman Osborn has conquered North America and Canada, I believe, and so Doctor Strange and Captain America and a few other superheroes are leading a resistance. So in part one, he refuses to help the younger Parker, but in part two, and in this universe, Gwen Stacy is still alive. I'll show you some of the really great artwork. They're trying to convince him to join the resistance. So here you can see like this Cap. He kind of looks like his Civil War. They rescue Doom from Norman Osborn's prison so he can repair the time machine. You can see Doctor Strange's gloves. All this stuff. You see Kraven the Hunter and Doc Ock. They work for Norman now. All this really cool stuff. Now, a little bit of a spoiler. The younger Parker decides to become Spider-Man. And what's really cool is he's wearing his costume from the new PS4 game that's coming out. That's really cool that it's become like an official canon in the comic book. Now, I won't give you anything more, but it's a really interesting story. It's really fantastic. I'm really liking what the direction that this story is taken. Chip Zdarsky and Adam Kubert, they're writing and doing the artwork respectively, and they are fantastic. I really am enjoying the Spidey series. I think that it's going to continue to be good. It's going to be a very, very intriguing and interesting series. I can't wait to see what's next. Alright, so now we're up to the new Avengers series. The Avengers Earth's Mightiest Heroes Number One. It's written by Jason Aaron and Ed McGuinness. I was a little hesitant because they've rebooted the Avengers comic book series so much, and especially the last iteration when they were using characters that, quite frankly, no one cared about. They had Tony Stark in a coma, and so whatever her name was, Ironheart, she was the Iron Man and all this. It just wasn't a good storyline. So they're relaunching, and now, as you can see, Tony Stark is back in action as Iron Man. Steve Rogers is back in action as Captain America, and the best part is Thor is actually Thor. I like Jane Foster. I didn't have a problem with her being worthy enough to lift Mjolnir, but make her her own character. Or give her the identity of Thunderstrike. No one cares about Thunderstrike anymore. He's kind of a forgotten character from the late 80s, early 90s. Let her be Thunderstrike. It's fine. But making her Thor, for one thing, it's kind of degrading to say, hey, Jane Foster, you're not cool enough to be your own character, so we're going to make you Thor. That would make you cooler. That's kind of an insult to women. Anyway, never mind. As you can see, though, also Captain Marvel is there. I would like to say Carol Danvers is my favorite version of Captain Marvel. The others who have gone before her, they're okay, but she is really my favorite. You have She-Hulk, we've got Black Panther, we have the new version of Ghost Rider, who you've also seen in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and of course, the Master of Mysticism, the Sorcerer Supreme, Doctor Strange. So, it starts off in the past. It says 1 million years ago on Earth, and it has like all these people who were, I guess, like a proto-Avenger. So you have Odin, you have that version of the Phoenix, that version of Iron Fist, a Hulk-like figure who's not Hulk, the Black Panther, Ghost Rider, and Agamotto. That's Doctor Strange. The amulet he wears is called the Eye of Agamotto. So basically, a Celestial comes. They're all getting ready to fight. Apparently, there's some flirtation happening between Odin and the Phoenix. And lo and behold, you see the Celestials are coming to Earth. And these past group of ancients, they're about to do battle with them. So then, jump ahead. You have this really cool. I really like that. That's pretty amazing. So then you have this meeting between Rogers, Stark, and Thor, and they're talking about the Avengers and whether they should assemble them. Stark is kind of ready to move on. Rogers is trying to convince him, no, we need the Avengers. So while they're all debating this, Black Panther and Doctor Strange are working to solve the mystery. Ghost Rider's working through some personal stuff. She-Hulk's kind of wandering around, and then Captain Marvel, she's up in space, and this hand comes out, and next thing you know, here I'm skipping ahead. Oh, by the way, here's a full shot of the Ghost Rider. Man, I love that drawing. I'm always hesitant when superheroes pass on their mantles, but I do love the new Ghost Rider. He is a pretty cool character. I think Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. might have biased me a little bit. So then, lo and behold, a Celestial falls out of the sky. So the Avengers have to figure out why and there's more than one, why these Celestials are raining from the sky. Now, I know I'm a little behind on this series, but don't worry, I'll catch you up as soon as I can. Excellent comic book series. It's off to a fantastic start. Jason Aaron, Ed McGuinness, they are great. And I know I'm a little late to the game as far as this is concerned, but I also want to shout out the artists Mark Morales and David Curiel. They did an amazing job with the series, and I can't wait to see what is next. Alright, so in between Marvel and DC, we've got IDW, and I'm introduced to Sonic the Hedgehog. So, I said in a previous video how much I loved the original Archie comics, and that I was disappointed when Sega tried to influence them more. I really felt like the writing and the artistic creativeness behind that series really went downhill. So, needless to say, Archie isn't doing it anymore. IDW has taken up the mantle. We're in issue 6. I've got cover A. As you can see, Sonic and Shadow are here. Now, just to give a little bit of a backstory, the series starts Sonic, Amy Rose, Knuckles, Tails, Blaze the Cat, some new characters they've introduced. Um, they have won the war. Robotnik has been defeated. And so basically what's happening is the resistance is somewhat broken up and they're just kind of traveling around stopping random robot raids because Robotnik's badniks are still around. So, long story short, the question is, where is Dr. Robotnik? No one can find him. They think he just disappeared, and they talk about that in previous issues. So, last two issues, I believe, they introduced the Team Chaotix, and then Rouge the Bat and Shadow have an appearance. Now, at first, I wasn't a huge Shadow fan. I had to play Sonic Adventure 2, which is when he was first introduced, like 3 times before he started to grow on me. And the Sonic X series did not help one iota. It just wasn't correct. So anyway, but now I do like him as a character. I think he's really cool. I still think Knuckles is Sonic's best side character, secondary character. So anyway, so they're looking for Dr. Robotnik, and they find him. Spoiler alert! But he's completely lost his memory. He doesn't know who he is. He's kind of living alone in this village, and he's become kind of like their Mr. Fix-It. He repairs all their stuff. He's building them a theme park, which they're a little worried because he's naming it Eggman Island. I refuse to call Dr. Robotnik Eggman. That is a stupid name. Robotnik is way cooler. So just get used to that. I'm calling him Dr. Robotnik. So anyway, Shadow and Rouge show up, and they want to, guess what? They want to kill Dr. Robotnik. And so this leads to a pretty epic fight between Shadow and Sonic. And I can't really talk a whole lot about this issue because it would have some spoilers. But just letting you know, I really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun. I find it wildly entertaining. Definitely pick up your copy at your local comic book store. All right, here we are with the final comic book of this episode. We have Doomsday Clock, number 5. And actually, my wife helped me pick out this cover because they had a variant cover where it was just an x-ray of a human skull. And so I when we went to buy it at Earth 2 Comics in Sherman Oaks, by the way, that's where I get like 95% of my comics. Check them out. They're in Sherman Oaks. Anyway, whenever I went to buy this Doomsday Clock number 5, there were 2 covers that have been released. There's this one with the Joker's face, and then the second variant had an x-ray of just a generic human skull. I think it might have been Lex Luthor's face, but it was really hard to tell. Anyway, I asked my wife was with me. She's amazing. She always comes to my comic book stuff with me. Guys, find a person like my super cute wife. Anyway, we had a really good time picking it out. And she was like, I don't really like either of the covers. Well, in that case, I'll just get the one with the Joker. So that never fails. So as you know, this series is bringing the Justice League together with the Watchmen. There's a new Rorschach, who his origin is explained in further detail in issue 4, I think. And it's a pretty good series. I'm enjoying it. I really felt like issues 3 and 4 were filler. Like they didn't really advance the story, but this one picks it up. So there are these new kind of Watchmen themed characters. I'm gonna try to find a good. There's a couple of small pictures because they do the artwork, the panels, the way the Watchmen was, and there's this older gentleman who. Oh, here we go. So this is them, the marionette and the mime, and they're these 2 psychopathic husband and wife, and they're in Gotham City. They've been kind of let loose on Gotham City by Ozymandias, and they're trying to find the Joker because some of Joker's thugs tried to kill them. So needless to say, hence why Joker's on this cover. You also find out, and if you haven't read this, spoiler alert, but they find out that the comedian was actually saved by Dr. Manhattan. And we don't really know why, but he has appearances in this. This older gentleman is looking for something, and you can't really find what. But when you find out what it is, it's really interesting. It's got some pretty interesting twists and turns. One thing I noticed about this, and I'm curious if this is going to connect to Convergence in the DC Rebirth, but Batman is seen talking with Ozymandias in this series. And one interesting thing about Batman, I'm trying to find a good picture. You can see it. He's wearing his New 52 costume. He's not wearing his DC Rebirth one, um, which is the one that's being featured in his solo comic book as well as Detective Comics and even in the Justice League. So, really curious about that. I wonder what direction they go, but as far as I can tell, they're doing a fantastic job with this series. Um, and I'm looking forward to seeing what is next with Doomsday Clock. All right, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed these comic book reviews. Be sure to subscribe to my channel. I've got all kinds of stuff. Besides comic books, I do all sorts of nerd stuff. I'm a cinephile. I do movie reviews. I do book reading lists and reading recommendations. So be sure to subscribe, give my videos a like, tell your friends about me. It always helps us small YouTube channels out a whole lot. Thank you so much to my subscribers for watching this video. You can find me on Twitter at RealJacobAiry. My Facebook is Author Jacob Airy. Instagram is real.jacob.airy. And of course, you can find my blog. It's jacobairy.blog, as simple can be. So definitely check that out. I've got all sorts of other stuff there. I've got more movie reviews. I've got top 10 lists. Like I have top 10 best Superman costumes, top 20 best Batman costumes, all kinds of stuff like that. So definitely check that out. You won't want to miss it. I've got more stuff coming your way. I've got new videos every Sunday and Wednesday where I do a vlog. So check it out. Again, subscribe. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time right here on Studio Jake.